Welcome to News with a View, a Fat Cat production. Your host, John A. Costa, and we're going to go like this today. Today is September 5th. I still apologize for the audio sounding a little tinny. Not much I can do about it. I have to go to a different software update. Today is episode 127. And it's going to be a fun show. There is not too much super going on in the news right now. A lot, but not a lot. But today I'm going to touch upon again the just the craziness of the left. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit, and I am going to crank up this a bit. Hopefully that will help. But I'm going to go and discuss the unhinging of the Democrats. Senator Tim Kaine, a Democrat senator from Virginia, makes a crazy comment about the Bill of Rights. Kane described the Declaration of Independence core principle of natural rights as extremely troublesome. It's troubling to him. And the line that he has a problem with is, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with a certain unalienable right, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yeah, we've all been taught that, and this is what fundamentally is the core basis of our Constitution, and of course our normal Bill of Rights. And that defines us as being Americans, immigrants that came here legally, accept that creed, they attest to it, they know that your ethnic, your color, and no other aspect of your life comes into play. Defines you as, that's what defines you. If you accept our rights that come from God, and that these natural rights were deduced naturally and of a natural equality, you know, that is the core of our values. That is our value system that we set up, and we say, you know, this is how we are going to judge our people and do our citizenship, is by these words. And Kane stated, and this is a quote, "The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the Creator, that's what the Iranian government believes. It's a theocratic regime that bases its rule on Shia law and targets Sunnis, Baha'is, Jews, Christians, and other religious minorities. And they do it because they believe that they understand what natural rights are from their Creator. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our government is extremely troublesome." The idea that we take our laws, our Constitution, and our Bill of Rights and somehow compare it to Sharia law. This guy should be taken outside, tarred and feathered, and kicked out. Again, I tell you, Democrats, and I say this with absolute meaning, you are going to lose so bad come 2026 that you have these maniacs that are speaking for the Democrats. And I cannot possibly see how you guys think you're going to win anything. Ted Cruz stated that Kane needs to understand that the DNC or government did not make up those rights. He doesn't understand, Kane doesn't understand how the Bill of Rights came about. What an ignorant, ignorant man. Conservative commentator Matt Walsh, he saw the evil and the dangerous assertion that Kane had made. This is a remarkable moment from Tim Kaine, Walsh wrote. He just announced that the core foundational principles of our country affirmed in the Declaration of Independence is extremely troubling and theocratic, and he should be immediately removed from office. He went on to say, anyone who rejects our nation's foundational principles is obviously not fit to serve. In my opinion, Fat Cat, this is the most outrageous thing that I've heard a Democrat say in a while. I mean, between Walsh and this guy. And Senator Kane he could have been vice president of this country. You remember he ran with Hillary Clinton as her VP choice in 2016? Yeah. Those that don't, if you don't understand that remark, if you would consider, I mean, the arguments, I mean, goes back to a guy, George Fitzhugh, and that's Fitzhugh, George Fitzhugh. And in 1853 or something, he was a antebellum Southern pro-slavery theorist, and that was written like 1854. That was the date, 1854. And he went on to say, men are not born entitled to equal rights. It would be far nearer the truth to say that some were born with saddles on their backs and others booted and spurred to ride them. And the riding does them good. They need these reins, the bits, the spur. It is becoming increasingly difficult, I'm thinking, for most Democrats to even think of voting their party line in 2026, this is me saying this, from comments like Kane made and Walsh had made in the last week. These are dangerous, dangerous people. And they should be dealt with in the voting booth. George Fitzhugh was an American social theorist who published racial and slavery-based social theories in the antebellum era. If you don't know what that is, just look it up. He argued that the Negro was but a grown-up child, needing the economic and social protections of slavery. Forget about what the Bill of Rights say. And so did the Founding Fathers, in a sense, where they wrestled with this idea of slavery. And they did wrestle with it. But they also knew they just didn't have the manpower. And the way things were done back then is you did it with slaves. It was just a fact of life. And I'm not justifying, I'm just saying that's the way it was done. But we have evolved since that time. We have recognized our mistakes. We have tried to answer, and we now fight very hard for civil rights. Took a while, no doubt about that, folks. But then you have a guy like Tim Kaine that says, well, that had nothing to do with it. You know, we're no better than Iran. Yeah. Go and sit in their Senate. Go over there. See how you would do. Tell them how you feel about gays and homosexuals and LGBTQ and transgender. Now tell me how that goes for you, Tim. What a moron. Honestly. And again, this will all come back. This will all come back at election time. It will all come back. And some of it is truly, truly cringeworthy. Not only will that come back, but if he watched the JFK Jr. Senate hearings yesterday, if you're on the left, if you're a leftist Democrat, or even more shameful would be a moderate Democrat, you have to be embarrassed on how your people handle themselves in that situation. They were shouting at the senator, at Robert Kennedy. When Robert Kennedy was trying to answer their questions, they would interrupt with just gibberish stuff, nothing to do with what's going on, just to try to distract him from giving a rational answer. And the Democrats have absolutely no moral values. They have an agenda that they want done that goes outside of common sense. Again, goes to show that the Democrats have nothing to offer the American voters. Nothing but their rhetoric, their hate. Tim Kaine, Tim Walz the other day, he was screaming, that he was at a picnic saying that how he had wished that the news and the speculation that Trump had died was true, and one day we'll get that news, and I mean, in a state where this guy's had 2 shooting events, 4 people killed, 2 of them children, where President Trump has been the assassination attempt on him 2 times, that he would make a death reference joke. And he really thinks he's a contender. I'm a contender. Yeah, and that he has presidential, I'd like to be considered. Do you really think, honestly, that these people have chances here? Do you think that there is honestly a chance that the American public at large, see, we don't get to hear people that go to work every day, that come home, take care of their children, just want a nice evening, go to sleep, get up, and go to work. We don't hear from them because they're busy taking care of business. We hear from the leftists that are being paid to go to rallies, that don't have jobs, that are part of a criminal element. these are the people we hear from and you see out there. And it's just wrong. Now, they could go out there and say these things, but there's going to be consequences. And the consequences have already shown that the Democrats feel that they don't have to answer. They don't have to give a plan. They just have to go. Their plan is Trump orange, Trump bad, Trump hair, Trump Epstein. And Epstein is such an irrelevant matter for our government. It has no basis in our government. And yet that's the only thing that the Democrats can latch onto. That's it. That's the only thing they got. They got nothing else. They can't say anything about immigration because they failed with it. They can't say anything with crime because they failed at it. They can't say anything about the economy and the world at large because they failed at it. What are they going to say? Defend failure? Not going to happen. So they go after an Epstein. I mean, it just goes beyond common sense. And I think that Kane really needs to be called on the carpet. And his question on, now tell us what else on the Bill of Rights and in the Constitution that you feel is Islamic. Or you can compare to Sharia law. Because we're not throwing people off of rooftops for being gay. Yes, there are crimes against gay people, just like there are crimes against people for being a particular color or a particular race. It happens. And we should have laws and do have laws to protect those. When they do something like that, they have to answer for it. You can't have a parade that goes down the street. So, Tim Kaine, Walz, they are so out of their minds, so disconnected from what really is going on and what really is important, that they think, that our Bill of Rights is troublesome. American voters, wake up, remember this, because we're going to remind you of this come election time in such a big way. In such a big way. I mean, it's so crazy during the Kennedy hearings that they were asking him questions, about Epstein or something. He had nothing to do with it. That's not in his wheelhouse. It's meaningless. The women that said they were affected by Epstein, all the evidence is out there. Go and have a good day with it. Again, we must believe. No, we don't have to believe. Show me the facts. I'll believe the facts. I don't have to believe an individual. I just have to believe the facts. We have to. They had enough to go to court to file a civil suit. They must have the evidence that's there. And just to say, well, we want more evidence, we want names, we want lists. The list with Epstein is a list that was made by the Department of Justice, not by Epstein. And I do agree that this was handled very badly by the Trump administration. Because I pledged to release all the documents, everything, and he did release it, but that was all known information anyway. And the only thing that I would have said is that, we'll release it when we can release it. Because after our Department of Justice looked at it, we have more questions. And we need to speak with certain people, but we don't want those people to know that we're going to come and knock on their door. Now, if I was Trump and didn't do anything wrong, that any of that information contained in there was stuff that's already out, I would say everything that has my name on it, release it. Everything that has Bill Clinton's name on it, release it. Everything that has Bill Gates' name on it, release it. Everything that has Prince Andrew, whatever, release it. Because that's already known out there that there's documents pertaining to him. And that'd be fine. Unless there's greater lawsuits, unless there's, not lawsuits, the Department of Justice is now looking at this as a criminal investigation. As such, then none of this stuff can be released. Other than them saying, hey, we are now conducting an active investigation. We found stuff in here that the other administration should have been up in arms with, and they sat on it. That we're not doing that. We might charge Maxwell with more crimes, because this stuff was never released to not only the defense, but to the prosecution. And we can charge her with another crime. And we can charge these people with another crime, but we're not telling you who those people are until they are charged. So this was handled terribly, but if you watched the RFK hearings yesterday, you'd be appalled. You'd be appalled. The Democrats they should all be hanging their heads today. And moderate Democrats, when they ask you for a contribution to the DNC, you should say no. No. I'm not going to give you any money. I might vote for you, but I'm not giving you any money. And I think you can send a message to the DNC by holding back contributions and still support them. I don't know why you would. And still say, okay, I'll hold my nose and I'll vote for these people because I don't want to vote for a Republican. I get that. It happens every day. The Republicans do the same thing. So I don't have an issue with that, but I would say I'm not giving you any money. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to support the other guy, and I'm still going to vote. Because if you don't vote, then you just help the other guy. So I don't care who you vote for. You vote. But if I was a Democrat, I wouldn't give them a dime. Not a dime. And you could tell them, hey, I'm a Democrat, but you're not getting any money from me. There you go. So, 25 minutes talking about that nonsense. The unhinged Democrats. Yeah, I know, Bob, you might not like it, but unhinged. Now, another little tidbit that was in the news, and it's not a big thing, it just goes to show an MSNBC analyst who had been robbed multiple times in D.C. complains about Trump's crackdown using the military. And that NBC analyst is Ashley Parker, who co-wrote an article for the Atlanta Sun. For the Atlantic on Sunday, sorry, not the Atlantic on Sunday, decrying President Donald Trump's crime crackdown in Washington, D.C., despite having been robbed multiple times in the nation's capital. Parker accused Trump of using the DNC as a test case to deploy the National Guard across the country as a paramilitary police force, and that Americans are being conditioned to accept this authoritarianism. Now, in Washington, D.C., it is controlled by the federal government. So, Trump doing this, is it within his legal executive powers? So, as far as being a way of getting America used to it, no, because this has been used before. And she fails to say that other presidents, both red and blue, have used the military to squash riots, to protect the constitutional rights of minorities. The military has been used and brought into states before. So, conditioning them to accept it? No, madam. You don't know history. Because only a person that didn't know history would make that type of comment. And after expressing sorrow for illegal immigrants not being able to walk the streets, Parker tried to mock the National Guard troops' presence, but came off more like a spoiled child. Wham, 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 wham. Wham, 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 wham. And really, this is the person. Parker had complained on her X account in June about how many times she'd been robbed while living in D.C. And a quote from her: "After another bike was stolen last night, my husband and I realized our life as D.C. homeowners by the numbers includes 1 stolen car, 2 stolen scooters and Vespers, 3 stolen bikes, and a partridge in a pear tree, etc.," she wrote. So, she was upset about the crime in the area. And yet she would be perfectly acceptable that continue, because she doesn't want more protection. So she has to be content with the police doing their job or not doing their job. And crime, this is the normal. Well, but hold it. Didn't she just say that she was afraid of Americans being conditioned to accept? So she should accept the crime as being normal. What's her complaint? Why'd she complain on X? Maybe it was the Democrats who were trying to condition her to think that having your bike stolen in your car and being robbed is part of everything. That's normal, right? Does she even realize what a hypocrite she is? What a hypocrite. This is akin to a child, a young adult, murdering his parents and then standing in front of the judge and asking for mercy because, well, I'm an orphan now. Have mercy on this orphan. Do you see the craziness? Do you see how disconnected the liberals, Democrats, progressive, how disconnected they are from the reality? That they're willing to accept robbery and theft and a degraded lifestyle as normal. But she did say she liked the fact that Muriel Browser, who's the mayor of Washington, D.C., having to admit there's been a drop in crime since this all took effect. And citizens were happy that the stench of marijuana was gone from Union Station and fare jumpers were being dealt with. And but she did say even those residents who welcomed troops did so from a place of discontent. Yeah, a place of discontent. Like you, they were tired of the crime that wasn't being addressed. That was a failure of the local government to provide you, the citizen, with what you needed, protection. And so fed up with crime and the quality of life issues that they felt revealed that someone was finally doing something, anything to help. Yeah, she had to admit that. Then she turned around and she mocked the troops that were deployed to protect us, showed more concern for illegal aliens than American citizens, and got caught complaining about the crime that were affecting her in her personal life. But mocked the troops, mocked everything that was being done, poo-pooed it. Another one of these people, like I said the other day. Iceberg hits the Titanic. The Titanic hits the iceberg. And the captain goes, no, we're not sinking. We're just stopping for ice. Nothing going on here. Right? Same thing. Was she going... and you thought, you after reading her article, you'd go, all right, maybe at the end of the article, she's going to say, hey, all right, let's see how this works out. Let's see how this all works out. But no, she turns around and skews Trump. And you could just, you read her article and, that's Ashley Parker. And that was in The Atlantic on Sunday. Ashley Parker. You could Google her. Ashley Parker. Read that story. And she tried to paint the whole idea at the end of her story as being pointless, and those who support it as desperate. Oh, I'm desperate not to be robbed. That's a bad thing. I have to look at my moral compass now. I have to say, you know what? Maybe those people should be robbing me. Maybe the fact that I own 2 bicycles is wrong of me. Or my car. Who am I to have a car when they don't? I mean, this is the logic of the left. And MSNBC, mainstream media, right? And these are what the writers are doing. These are what these people, contributors to them, are doing. They want to make crime comfortable for you. The normal. Not having protection as the normal, but having crime. You should feel that that's a normal part of your life's activity, is to deal with criminals and being robbed and having your loved ones assaulted and having people you know and love murdered and having your store robbed. That should be normal to you. What are you complaining about? Yeah. If you don't think all this is coming back to you people, and when I say you people, I'm talking Democrats. And when I talk Democrats, I'm talking about the people in political offices and those people that shape the political Democratic agenda. This is going to be coming back at you where you will not be able to answer the questions that are going to be thrown at you. And you know what liberals do and progressives do when they can't support their facts or they can't support their position? They get violent. They break windows. They turn over cars. They riot. So, come 2026, we can expect violence from the left. But unlike before, when we just had to sit back and go, well, social justice, they're telling us it's social justice. That's not going to happen this time. You're gonna come out and you're gonna find a very different situation going on. And you're gonna find yourselves in a world of hurt. And that's a truthism. And I think that even in blue states, when these antics start, it's not going to end well for you. If you try to break the law with violence, you will be suppressed. Yeah. By either the police, the military, or the citizens. And that will be a bad day for you guys. So if any of you know a progressive or rabid liberal or stuff, you better warn them. You stay in between the guardrails. Because when you don't, there'll be people there to drag you off. And Kane, Senator Kane, has already is standing on top of that bunker saying that he has a problem with the Bill of Rights. You guys are nuts. Oh, and the fourth thing I was going to talk about is President Trump keeps saying he's going to run a third term and he's not going to leave the White House. And watching you liberals just go crazy and wrap yourself around that. It's fun. And he likes doing it. And he likes seeing the reaction that you guys get. He likes doing that to you. And you go for the bait every time. You go and he sets that hook. Just. So, that's the show for today. There were some other things that I did want to touch upon, but I don't know if I'm going to do a weekend show, but I might try. If I see stuff come up later on in the day, I will. I'll have talk more about the Kennedy hearing too, that I really wanted to jump into. And I'm going to take pieces and put them up in the corners and try to show just how nutty some of those questions were. And they were good questions. Some were good questions. I won't say everyone was a bad question, but I mean, Warren and Sanders and some of these guys, they just go to their old ways of doing stuff. You're the only one in America that won't follow science. And he starts explaining, and he goes, hey, I could show you tons of support I got. Only our scientists matter. That's basically what the left is saying. So, you have to believe us. Can't believe anyone else. You must follow the science, except in the cases of DNA and who you are. Then you can't follow the science. Right? Unconfirmed studies. Well, you got to believe the science. Well, but it's all from one side. You never did blind testing. Side-by-side blind testing. That doesn't matter. You don't understand the science. You're not a scientist. You're not a doctor. Well, I'm not. I got plenty of people that are. Oh, they're not credible. Oh, they're not doctors? Oh, no. Only our doctors, only our scientists are credible. So, you see what goes on, folks. You see what goes on. And this is where I said you must be careful. Before you drink that Kool-Aid, but what politicians, both sides, what politicians do, they know you're too busy, like I said, going out, working, coming home. I just want to relax. I don't want to hear what Billy did today in school that got him in trouble. You handle that. Here's my check. I just want my meatloaf, potatoes, a beverage. Sit down. We all watch TV together and laugh. Made sure the kids did their homework. Clothes are washed. We got food in the refrigerator. I got gas in the car. And tomorrow I do it all over again. And most Americans, that's the way they work. And most people in the world, that's the way it works. So when they go, no, you don't have to think about this. We've already done it for you. Here's the answer. I don't expect people to go and research and look at it. But I also don't mind hearing from the naysayers going, oh, wait a minute. Yes, if they came in holding a cauldron and wearing a witch's hat and stuff, I might not take their advice so seriously. But a known scientist, I might go, well, let the person speak. Let the person speak. So, more of that. And then, you know what, tomorrow I probably will do a show in the evening, but it will be after 7 o'clock, because tomorrow at Socrates Station in Socrates, South Carolina, which is right between Myrtle Beach and Murrells Inlet, Socrates Bar and Grill will be having their prime rib special that they do the first of every month, the first month. Okay, let me get this back. The first Saturday of every new month. So, even though today is the 5th, Saturday is the first day of the month for them. And as such, they have a prime rib that would knock your socks off. For $24 or $22, whatever they do, it is a great dinner. And I'm going. So I know I won't be back home until after about 7 p.m., 7:30. But that show tomorrow, I think I'm going to do on knowing your rights if you're stopped by the police. And I think that's very important. And that's not being anti-police. I'm all for the police doing their job. But in saying that, you, us, them, all have rights. And you have to know how to exercise your rights, or you lose those rights. Now, I'm not a lawyer. Like I said before, I have absolutely no qualifications for a lot of things. But I know a lot. And I will give you some people to go to on I love YouTube, that are lawyers, and will explain to this in much greater detail. But if you haven't looked at that or haven't been exposed to that, you might not know about it. And all I'm doing is making you aware, telling you. You'll hear a lot of the same things, but they'll give you a lot better advice. But everyone should know their rights. And I'll tell you what. Every one of your children over the age of 12 should know their rights. And I say that because the courts do allow children to be treated as an adult, which I think is a horrible, horrible thing. I think was it always a bad precedent. I realize some children do horrible, horrible things. And there's just something not right with that kid. But to say, I'm going to treat them as an adult, no. No. Now, you want to say, well, like in Judaism or some other religions, at 13 you become a man. Or you become a woman, instead of a bar mitzvah, you have a bas mitzvah. But whatever. Any child over the age of 12, that's why I say it. Because you must also realize that we have based our laws on the Judeo-Christian belief factor. But it's not Sharia law, and it's not what Tim Kaine is trying to advocate or even point towards. It is so far different. But we do base our laws on, and our Constitution and our rights on Judeo-Christian values. So he could say that, yes, we, boom, boom, but our laws are our laws, but yes, they did follow, some basis of religion. Even though our founders had stated a separation of church and state. And really all that meant was that the state couldn't have a sponsored religion like they did in England, the Church of England. And in places that were founded in the 1600s here, Rhode Island, you weren't even allowed to put up a church. No churches. No. But you were allowed to conduct your religious activities in your home with people that felt like you. But you couldn't build churches. And that came on a little bit later on. But that's how they really wanted it separated out. So, Tim Kaine, you're wrong, and you're dangerous. But I'll do that show tomorrow. I'll look it up later today. All right, with that, I'm going to say good night. Give to a charity. Check that charity out. Make sure they're a legit charity. Don't become a victim helping a victim. Don't feel like doing that. Give to a local food bank. And when you go to that food bank, ask them other things that they might need, that you might have, or know people that have, and they're not using it anymore. And yeah, help someone. Makes you feel good. Say a prayer. Prayer does work. We all try to be as good people as we can and recognize when we're not and when we should be. It's very important. Can't always be. The one thing we can be and ask for is forgiveness. So I go to sleep. I ask God to forgive me. I ask anyone that I transgress to forgive me. And I forgive those that transgressed against me. So when I go up there, I'm going to be judged, but I will not have a stain on me. All right. Good night. As I fade to black, and we'll catch you later. Join my channel if you haven't joined.